My boss stole my creation. The app I poured countless nights into, the one that carried every ounce of my energy and vision, was suddenly being paraded around like it was his brainchild. I remember standing in that crowded conference room, fluorescent lights buzzing above, as he strutted up to the stage with my prototype in his hands. He smiled that fake, smug smile of his and declared to the audience, "This app is going to revolutionize the industry." Everyone clapped. People leaned in, whispering about how brilliant he was. My stomach twisted. My chest felt like it was caving in. The blood rushed to my face. I wanted to scream, to shout that it was mine, but I stood frozen, my fists trembling at my sides. He had stolen from me in plain sight, and the world was applauding him for it. If you've ever had someone take credit for your hard work, you know that mix of humiliation and fury. You know the voice in your head that says, "They can't get away with this." And that's exactly what I promised myself. He wouldn't get away with it. Not this time. At first, I felt powerless. He was the boss, the golden boy of the company. I was just another employee, invisible in the crowd. I remember going home that night and staring at my laptop, at the lines of code I had written, feeling like I had been erased. Every sleepless night, every coffee-fueled morning, every sacrifice I had made, it was like none of it mattered. He had stolen my dream and wrapped it up as his own. I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing his voice, kept seeing the smug curve of his mouth as people clapped for him. I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. But beneath all that pain, something else began to rise, resolve. I knew the truth. I knew the app wasn't just some idea tossed on a napkin. It was my baby, something I had meticulously documented, tested, and copyrighted. Every line of code, every design draft, was saved under my name. And if he thought he could just waltz away with it, he was in for a surprise. The weeks that followed were brutal. Every meeting became another stage for him to gloat. He stood at the head of the table, taking questions, smiling as he explained features I had invented, pretending he had come up with them in a flash of brilliance. I'd watch as colleagues nodded, as investors leaned in, excited. Each word he spoke felt like a dagger. My hands itched to expose him, but timing was everything. If I lashed out too early, no one would believe me. He had already positioned himself as the genius. I had to be smart. I had to wait until the stage was set. So, I started planning. Quietly, in the shadows, I gathered my proof. Every email I had sent with the app attached, every timestamped file, every design iteration. I organized it all into a neat little package that screamed undeniable ownership. Then, I reached out to the right people, industry contacts, potential investors, even a lawyer who knew exactly how to handle intellectual property theft. While my boss was basking in stolen glory, I was weaving a trap. And the best part, he didn't see it coming. He thought I had been beaten down. He mistook my silence for submission. He had no idea that every smile I forced in those meetings, every nod I gave, was me buying time. Inside, I was burning, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That moment came at the company's big launch event. The stage was dressed up with banners, cameras were set, and journalists filled the room. This was supposed to be his big day, the day he unveiled his creation to the world. He walked onto the stage, shoulders back, voice booming with confidence. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "this is the future." The applause was deafening. But then the lights dimmed, and the screen behind him flickered. At first, people thought it was part of the show. Then, a new presentation started rolling, one that I had prepared. My name appeared on the screen, followed by a detailed breakdown of the app's development history. Dates, proof, screenshots, every piece of evidence that showed I was the true creator. Gasps filled the room. Murmurs spread like wildfire. I'll never forget the look on his face. His confident smile collapsed into panic. His eyes darted around the room, searching for someone to blame, someone to help. But no one came. Everyone was staring at him, at the fraud he was. And I stood in the back, watching as his empire crumbled in front of cameras, investors, and colleagues. The fallout was swift. The investors pulled out. The company launched an investigation. He tried to spin it, tried to claim it was all a misunderstanding, but the evidence was airtight. He was finished. Fired. Blacklisted in the industry. Meanwhile, I walked away not just with my app, but with recognition. People reached out to me, praising me for standing up, for fighting back. My app didn't just survive, it thrived, because now it had my name, my story, attached to it. And in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in months: peace. The weight lifted. The sleepless nights, the fury, the humiliation, it all melted away as justice took its place. That's the thing about betrayal. It cuts deep, but when justice is served, it heals even deeper. If you've ever been wronged, if you've ever felt small because someone more powerful tried to crush you, remember this: silence isn't surrender. Sometimes silence is strategy. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And of course, subscribe for more stories like this, because sometimes karma doesn't just knock, it kicks the door down.